G'day geeks, Chris here, and in this video we are talking about something that I don't talk about a lot, which is wrestling. So we've got a couple of Mattel's WWE Legends figures. We've got Bobby the Brain Heenan, classic bad guy manager, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake, classic good guy wrestler. So a couple of wonderful 80s wrestlers, personalities, characters, whatever you want to call them. So yes, let's talk about the Brain and the Barber. So if, like me, you grew up in the 80s, wrestling was very important to you. They were like real life superheroes back in the day, and I've still got a few of my original wrestling figures, those big chunky ones from LJN with the big rubber bodies. Thankfully they survived my childhood. I do have a couple of small wrestling shelves in my toy room, but I don't buy a lot of wrestling figures. The only ones that I do buy really are ones like this, which are lovely characters from the 80s. I don't follow modern wrestling. My nieces and nephews do, so sometimes I'll watch it with them, but I have no idea really what's going on with the current wrestling. But these are from the Mattel Elite collection, and this is from their Legends line, which obviously looks at the legends, you know, the characters back in the day, and it's awesome that we can still get these. I think I got these from Kmart potentially. So here on the left we have Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of the wonderful personalities. He was a manager of a lot of the bad guys like Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, that kind of thing, and I just love the wonderful packaging. Aren't these boxes just awesome? The way they've kind of, you know, look very regal, gold and black, just awesome. You don't really see a lot of boxes like this with this kind of more cut in shape, which is pretty awesome. So yes, we have Bobby the Brain Heenan, some wonderful artwork on the side. We have Brutus the Barber Beefcake from the Legends line as well. So this obviously has been on for a while. Bobby is from series 29. It's quite a long time. So, and on the back we can see the other characters. Well, I guess they are. We got Rob Van Dam, British Bulldog, and Kurt Hennig in this series. British Bulldog was also one of my favourites growing up, and a bit of a bio of Bobby the Brain Heenan's wonderful career in WWE. And there's a lovely picture on the back, which is the same as on the sides, and obviously just the text on the sides. So pretty cool with the lovely window display. Again, we've got the same picture of Brutus the Barber Beefcake on the sides and the back. And in his wave we have a few more figures. So we've got Cody Rhodes in his younger days. We've got Virgil, which you know from the $1 Million Man, and Dusty Rhodes, and Red Rooster, which is quite funny because that's a chicken fast food franchise here in Australia. And again, just a bit of a bio. But yes, Brutus the Barber Beefcake is one of my favourite wrestlers back in the day, and a close friend of Hulk Hogan as well. So let's open them up and have a look at the Barber, the Brain. Here we have Bobby the Brain Heenan, and I just love the expression that he comes with straight out of the packet. So he just comes with his standard managerial suit with some pretty fancy red jacket there with a couple of pockets and a nice little bow tie. So yes, it's pretty cool to have some soft goods with a bit of velcro, so you can just take that off if you want to, and just a standard black suit. He comes with a couple of extra grip hands as well, but no interchangeable head, so that's the only expression you can have on him, but that's okay because Bobby the Brain Heenan was a bit of a funny guy, and he's kind of one of those guys that the audience loves to hate. So yes, I actually just watched his I rewatched his 2004 WWE induction into the Hall of Fame, which is very funny, so definitely recommend giving that a view. He died in I think 2017, but yes, very fondly remembered by wrestling fans with his weasel matches as well, where he'd dress up in a weasel suit and wrestle, but very funny, and he was certainly willing to make a fool of himself to bring some levity and some comedy to the world of wrestling. But here we have Bobby the Brain Heenan. He does have the standard articulation that these wrestling figures come with, so not too posable, I guess, but he doesn't really need to be because he's not necessarily a wrestler. But he's got the double jointed knees, no, single jointed I think, and the same with the elbows. And as I said, you can take that jacket off if you want to. I'd imagine it's not going to be easy, but I'll certainly try. The head comes off, but there's no other head to pop on there, and the hand's easy enough to just pull out and just pull in the other ones. So yeah, as I said, just comes with the grip hands, and they will just go straight in. No accessories or anything, but certainly looks like Bobby the Brain Heenan with that lovely grin. And yes, if you do have a lot of wrestling figures, this would certainly add a fair bit of colour and personality to your shelf. And just like Bobby Heenan, Brutus the Barber Beefcake has a wonderful expression straight out of the box. He comes with a couple of extra hands as well, so no extra head, but a couple of pointing hands, which is pretty cool. And obviously his gimmick was whenever he would put people in the sleeper hold after defeating them, he would use some guarding shears to chop off their hair. So here we have him in a costume which I believe is later in his career. He had a lot of different changes in his costumes, but yeah, similar articulation, double jointed knees here though, and the familiar boots, and obviously again soft goods coat. So let's just take these guarding shears out. I don't know if they actually work. Oh, they do. Look at that, how lovely. And we've got the candy cane stripes on there, which is great, and another Velcro on his coat, and a little bow tie, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you can take the bow tie if you want off. Just remove the head, which is easy enough. But yes, Brutus Barber Beefcake, close personal friend of Hulk Hogan, one of my absolute favourite wrestlers growing up, and we team up with Greg the Hammer Valentine quite often in tag team matches, I believe. But yes, here we go in one of his many costumes. He's kind of got on the legs different fabric, which is actually torn in there, which is pretty cool. So yes, nice details on this. So he was one of my favourite wrestlers growing up in the 80s, and he wrestled for quite a number of years. Unfortunately, he had a parasailing accident and got hurt pretty bad, so he retired after that. But nevertheless, one of those fabulous 80s characters. Just loved him, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. More crossover figures here. This is Bret the Hitman Hart as Triclops. So this is from, I think they did like 2 or 3 series, Mattel did, of the wrestlers crossed over with Masters of the Universe figures. So that was a pretty awesome collab. We've got Hulk in the back there, and we've got this is the kind of retro style Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, who I picked up recently at a Nexus toy fair. So here's some more other wrestling figures. A couple of other figures for comparison time. So here we have the classic, the vintage Hasbro Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So these are little great figures, and they really have action gimmicks. So this isn't my childhood one, but I did have him as a child when I was a child. He's missing his shears, but that's okay. And no, they're too big, so they won't fit on these ones won't fit in this one. That's okay. And here's the hefty rubber LGN figure. Again, all these figures have the same kind of cheeky expression, which is great. But yes, quite happy to have him in his colourful costumes in 3 different versions. So we got the new Mattel one, and the Hasbro, and the LGN with Bobby the Brain Heenan in the middle. Pretty cool to have a assortment of Brutus the Barber Beefcake figures. As I said, I'm not a huge wrestling fan of the current era, the modern era. The current wrestlers have been to Perth a couple of times over the last few years, which has been awesome, but I just love these classic figures, and it was such a big part of my childhood growing up in the 80s and 90s. So happy to add the Brain and the Barber to my shelf. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you at the next video. Goodbye, geeks.